We're back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sponsored Content. I am your host. Today on Spawn Storytime, we will be covering Spawn issue number 17. Before that, let's find out what you need to know from the last issue. In issue number 16, we learned that approximately 5 years ago, the military was conducting a routine atom bomb test underground in Nevada, and they discovered what they thought was a portal to another dimension. Turns out that was actually a portal to hell. Atop this portal, they've taken to using a substance from hell called psychoplasm, which interacts in a particular way with the human mind to represent all of your memories and fears and desires. So they've built a town on top of this doorway to hell. They've named this town Simmonsville, and they've named it so because in order to obtain psychoplasm, Jason Wynn essentially traded Al's soul to hell and orchestrated Al's murder through using Chapel to blast him in the face. So there's really a lot that we learn in this issue. We also learned that there's an orbital angel station just outside of Earth whose mission is to create heavenly soldiers to send down, if necessary, to fight the current Hellspawn on Earth. We see that Jason Wynn is pre-selected for this role, and he's yanked up into space to become the anti-Spawn. We also see Spawn visit the grave of himself, the grave of Al Simmons, whilst simultaneously refocusing his anger on whoever directed Chapel to execute him. Continuing the Reflection story arc from issue number 16, let's take a look at issue 17. Issue 17 was released on January 1st, 1994, featuring the second part of the Reflection story arc, kicked off last issue by writer Grant Morrison, featuring artwork on the cover from Greg Capullo, depicting Spawn sort of hanging out in the sewer, with a classic green power hand brewing here of his hellborn energy, sort of hanging out with the rats, sort of chilling down here, looking like he might be, investigating the substance from Ghostbusters 2, maybe. Another cover featuring Spawn with a mask covering his face. Let's jump right into issue number 17. We start off issue number 17 with an awesome picture of Big Daddy Bulge, looking pretty cosmic, looking pretty metal. He's mocking, he's laughing, pretty classic. He's surveying his work and he's declaring that it is good. He loves this. He is looking down on Spawn, his creature, his knight of the pit, and he is happy because Spawn is suffering. We see Spawn still at his gravesite, the gravesite of Al Simmons, and Malebolgia is happy because Spawn is hurting. So he's kind of reaching down, sort of talking to Spawn now. He's like, hey, I want to show you something. If you're not really feeling bad enough now, let me take you on a journey, maybe make you feel even worse. So he picks up Spawn, which is not a good feeling. Spawn says it feels like he's dying yet again. And he gets plucked away and transplanted to the desert in Nevada, where we know that Simmonsville exists. Big Daddy Bulge is basically now explaining to Spawn the nature of Simmonsville and the nature of psychoplasm. So he drops Spawn off here. Spawn sees the street he grew up on, the church where he was married, and he's like, what the hell is this place? And this is when Malebolgia explains that, psychoplasm exists, your guys had found it, they wanted it, we sold it to you, but basically it's like the pink slime from Ghostbusters 2, and it reacts to human emotions, and so, by the way, your body is actually made up of this psychoplasm, because you can kind of, shape-shift, and you're kind of like a polymorph, I guess, but so he's kind of bringing Spawn up to speed from what everyone else knows from the last issue. Spawn was too busy sort of checking out himself in the grave and being pissed off about that to know what was going on here. So Malebolgia says, hey, do you remember that day at the lake when you proposed to Wanda? And Spawn's like, leave Wanda out of this. Not my wife. Please. Anything but my wife. I love my wife so very much. Malebolgia continues on, well, each day you're my slave. I really can't wait for the day that you come crawling back to me at my throne in Hell's pits and beg me to lead Hell's army. So now Malebolgia is taking delight in Spawn's suffering. Spawn's sort of crying maybe a bit, and Malebolgia is licking up his sweet, savory, bitter, salty tears, sort of like Cartman following, feeding Scott Tenorman his mom and dad chili. We find ourselves back in near-Earth orbit at the Angelic Orbital Space Station, and they have completed their assimilation of Jason Wynn's human body into their new soldier of the light. So they're preparing to send their new soldier down to Earth, and he kind of explodes down like a comet, and he's just shooting through the atmosphere. He's coming in hot. Spawn, he's been whipped into a frenzy by Malebolgia. He's pissed off. He's like been wanting to fight Malebolgia pretty much since the first issue. So he's like, where are you, you bastard? You took my life, you took my soul. And right about this time, the Heavenly Soldier of the Light, the comet here, impacts the Earth and sends Spawn shooting into the air. Spawn says, I don't know what the hell that was, but my skin is kind of like crackling and crawling with static. He knows that there's something in there. And that's something bad. And we see this awesome shot of Anti-Spawn. He says, "Hell Spawn, I've come for you." Looking just really righteous, really metal, really almost rivaling Spawn's design in a way. He has this hilarious belt buckle that's like, no Spawn allowed. Sort of like the no Spawn section. And he's just got some crosses and some spikes and stuff, but he's looking really sweet. He's arrived. He's already got like 50% of a full fire hand brewed up, and he looks righteous. Newscast. Lady says, basically, Jason Wynn has kind of disappeared. There's rumors surrounding, this disappearance. No one's going to confirm or deny shit. Basically, he was scheduled to appear on TV. We see click. Beard says, call me what you want, but this stinks like a cover-up. What were his connections? What were Jason Wynn's connections to, this Youngblood activity? Basically, we change the channel again. We learned that apparently there's some new information that's come to light, suggesting Al Simmons may have been murdered by his own people. Terry changes the channel again. Wanda's like, what's going on? Was that something about Al? And Terry says, nah, not really. Just some Jason Wynn BS, and I didn't think you want to hear it. Wanda says, I never really liked that piece of shit. He was always kind of creeping around, like he was around when Al was here. Al and I were married. I met him a few times, and he's kind of a, creepster. Wanda says, it's kind of weird the way I'm thinking about Al anymore. It's kind of like spooky, almost like he's a ghost or something. And Terry's like, do you still think about me? She's like, of course. And then she's like, all this stuff about Jason Wynn, does it even matter? And it turns out that it really does. On the next page, we see yet again Jason Wynn. He's been reborn as the Anti-Spawn. He is now facing his old adversary in that of Al Simmons, although neither man here actually knows whom they're fighting. So we see the Anti-Spawn. He's like, basically, my mission is to destroy you. Spawn says, bring it. And we see the Anti-Spawn work up a massive heavenly light blast here. This blast hits Spawn like a freight train, causing basically everything inside of him to catch on fire. He feels like acid in his veins. He's pretty messed up. He gets kind of thrown through the stained glass of the church here where we're fighting, and he falls down to the ground. He can kind of smell some familiar smells, and he realizes that this church is obviously not real, but it's hell pretending to be a church. He's in a lot of pain. He hears some voices. We have like some low-level minions here creeping out. They're like hourly employees, so they're just like creeping out, trying to like see what's going on, maybe trying to get Spawn's costume off of him. They're thinking maybe if he's gonna get decimated here, they might as well steal this costume and become their own captain in Hell's Army. So they start to creep on him like the little aliens from Space Jam, and then Anti-Spawn kicks in the door and he's like, stay away from him, he's mine. Filth, do you hear me? And he blasts another big ass heavenly fire blast, just incinerating all of these little minions. Spawn is recognizing now, one, he doesn't know who in the hell this person is or what they want, and he's concerned that this person may be stronger than him. So Anti-Spawn's like, do you like what I can do here? I'm basically dispelling your ass, and it's now your turn to scream. Back at Simmonsville in our observation deck, Major Vale is looking upon everything basically burning down to the ground in a scene almost out of like Doom Eternal or something. Everything's on fire. There's probably like tendrils and stuff everywhere, demons and hellish things going on. But they're kind of like, what's going on down there? We don't really know. This looks a little different than the last time I was here. So Major Vale, he's feeling like really, really confident. And for some reason, he thinks he's going to just walk into this sort of hellish town and take it on. So that's his mission. Back with Spawn and Anti-Spawn, Spawn is nearing the limitations of what he's able to take. So he really needs to try and finish off the Anti-Spawn, which we see Spawn here work up a pretty massive green power blast and hit, or at least try to hit Anti-Spawn. He misses, and Anti-Spawn's still coming with his own brewed up power hand. Spawn thinks this next blast will do me in, so I have to get out of here. We see the massive power hand working up, Spawn going into his sort of green state where we know that he's about to teleport. So he teleports. Again, it hurts bad. He finds himself zapped back sort of into the alleyway here, kind of hovering in the air. And the bums actually see this. They're like, oh, what's this? This is pretty cool. And then all of a sudden, Spawn manifests. And they're like, oh, hey, buddy, how you doing? Spawn says, you guys should really leave. I got someone on my tail, and they can probably show up any minute. Well, sure enough, we see another big-ass blue-tinted power. There's a lot of power on this page, kind of everywhere. But in our most recent power formation here, Anti-Spawn! He says, bitch, you can't hide. I can track you through time and space to the ends of the earth. You cannot run. You can go nowhere. Like, you cannot hide from death. He hits Spawn with just another massive blast of power. This is basically the first time we see Spawn really getting his ass whooped. So this is pretty concerning, both to Spawn and our audience here. So he can't see. He's like got blood in his eyes. He realizes his costume is kind of bleeding in and of itself, that it is wounded. His costume, being made of psychoplasm, it's kind of like its own living entity anyway. Anti-Spawn's just like, do you understand the pain? If I can kill you, the angels will kind of let me go back to kicking it and doing what I was doing before with my karate and, being a really evil piece of shit, but for some reason being recruited by heaven to take out other sort of not as evil people. Anyway, Spawn's about to lose consciousness, and he needs to find a new plan. Anti-Spawn works up the biggest heavenly blast of all. This one's just going to emanate straight from his metal-ass face, and he hits Spawn. He blows a hole right through Spawn, and Spawn is down. We can see that his eyes are still open, so that's probably a good sign, but he is just not in a position to really do anything. Anti-Spawn says, I can't really think straight. My mission is to kill you, and I know that if I can kill you, I will get relief. So he has his own questions, kind of. He's starting to do a little bit of like self-reflection here, and all he knows is that Spawn is his prey. So in another awesome shot, he whips out a big-ass light sword from his hand while looking really buff and cool with his, no Spawn allowed buckle. We see Spawn here. He's not really looking like he's in a great position. Anti-Spawn towering over him, looking menacing and metal. He says, time's up, Hellspawn. You're about to get your ass whooped. So that is issue number 17. We will have to see the continuation of our battle between Spawn and Anti-Spawn in the next episode. This has been sponsored content with another episode of Spawn Storytime. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again.
Boom, shakalaka.